Welcome back to the Tasty Brains podcast with your host, Paulie Donuts, and special guest, Kevin Thomas. Kevin, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm great, Paulie. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. A lot of people are probably reading your little tag under there, and the people that aren't watching, Kevin is the president and CEO of KTS Security Solutions, and a lot of people, maybe some people know more about it now than ever, I'd imagine, with the recent unfortunate, disgusting things that have happened recently in Nashville, and that seem to continue to happen and have been happening for a long time, and they only seem to continue to rise. Kevin is the inventor, creator, mastermind behind this amazing in-school protection safe room, a bulletproof safe room. It's called the R.A.S.R, correct, Kevin?
Yes, sir. That's it.
I'm going to, for the people that are watching, I am going to real quick, just so we can, I would like for people to be able to see it. Let me mute this lady so she's not talking over us. And I just want to show everybody what it looks like if you haven't seen it. It is absolutely awesome. I hope the people watching, and I'll explain as it goes along. Hopefully it doesn't get pulled down for that, but it shouldn't. So no. There's a lady talking on the screen right now. She's a news lady. Basically, it looks like a whiteboard. I'm going to pause it real quick. A whiteboard that you can write on. So it already, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. It fits right into the classroom, and we'll get in how you came about creating this awesome thing.
Sure.
It goes right in the classroom. It's like a bolt-on, basically. It's got a wheel system, and literally, and I think they picked a woman. Not hating on any of the girls out there, but I think they picked it because most teachers are women. That she's there. She's pulling it with both hands. Easily, boom, and it's locked into place, and that's it. There's Kevin right there, looking happy and strong. He's got a powerful hat on. Damn, I can't rock one of those. I'm a baseball hat kind of guy.
You can see that's where I'm at 90% of the time.
I like it. All right, and I fast forward just a little bit, and I'll explain. They're just showing how easily it is to put away this safe room. And it's just the guy's pushing it with one hand, and it's simply sliding right back into the wall. Let me stop sharing this little screen, and we're back. So, Kevin, where did you guys get started?
Starting in the manufacturing, or just started in general? That's a
general
question.
How did you come? Kind of what's your background, to what built into this? I'd imagine you weren't just like, yeah, let's build a bulletproof safe room for schools.
No, it's a little more complicated than that. Or it's a long journey, I guess I'd say, since high school.
Wow.
So went to architectural school, came out, was a project manager for an architectural firm for about 11 years. And we designed movie theaters around the country. If you've ever been in Regal Cinema, you've probably been in something that we had a hand in at one point in time.
Okay.
And after that, in the year 2000, I started my own general contracting company. So for the last 23 years, we've been general contractors, and we can do design and build, obviously, with the architectural side of things. So having a vision to design things that don't exist and then go build them, that's kind of been our MO since 1989, in one form or another, right? Either on the design side or the design and construction side. So, and we were already in the arena of providing rapid deployment housing units for our military warfighters and forward operating bases around the world. So we were familiar with the ballistics side of things. So we kind of knew the products that needed to be used in this scenario. And then when Uvalde happened, I was actually on my way to a military range day in Virginia, just south of Washington.
Okay.
Enough. And my wife was watching the news after the unfolding of everything that happened in Texas last year.
Mm-hmm.
And she literally called me. This gets me choked up. But and said, "We got to fix this." And I'm like, "Fix what?" And she's like, "We got to protect these kids. Nobody is doing it. We've been waiting 25 years. We still don't have an answer." And with that said, I'm like, "What do you say to your wife when she's begging you to come up with something to protect a child?" You do it. That's what you do.
100%.
And I had no idea what that was going to look like. And to be honest, I knew what the material needed to be because we were already familiar with that. I didn't know how to get it into a classroom where it didn't take up space that they couldn't afford to give us on a permanent basis. And so I had to come up with something. I couldn't put one of our buildings. Her initial response was, "Well, can we just put one of our ballistic buildings in the corner of the room?" Which that's an easy fix. We could absolutely do that, but most classrooms can't afford that space.
Right. Of course not.
And so on my 9-hour drive to Virginia, I said, "I'll come up with something. I'll figure it out. Just let me think about it." And so I'm driving down the road about 90 miles an hour, and hopefully I can't get arrested now, but statute of limitations here. But I was driving with my knee, my hands in my hand. I'm thinking, I got to get this in the corner of the room, and it's got to fold out. And I'm just doing this with my hands, and I'm like, holy crap, there's the answer right there.
Wow.
Right there. Now I got to find the pieces to make it go in the inside corner, fold it out, and now I got to make it usable daily. So what do we need to do? Of course, I'm old school, so I'm thinking chalkboard. Well, chalkboard. So we need to get dry erase board. So we go the dry erase board route because that's actually what's utilized more often today than a chalkboard. So we started gathering materials. I got my oldest son, who's one of my operations managers, and he started looking for all of the hardware that we needed in order to do this. And I was kind of directing him on what we needed. And he's an expert at finding all these things that you just can't find. And so by the time we got to Virginia, I had it in my head. We put up our rapid deployment housing unit there on site. And I literally went inside and went to drawing on a napkin. And by lunchtime that day, we had this on a napkin, and I was showing some military leaders there my idea. And believe it or not, by the end of the day, we were on the phone with people in Congress going, I think we got something here. I mean,
wow.
That literally happened in 8-10 hours. And it went that fast. And then I was asked the question, this is probably going to take 2 or 3 years to get to production level, and I said, no, ma'am, this will I will have this done by the end of the school year.
Oh, I love it.
And so that was June the 3rd or 7th, somewhere right in there. And, we unveiled this thing in a production model already installed in a school classroom on March the 13th. And then ever since then, it's kind of gone crazy, to be honest.
And Alabama was the first school, that school Alabama in that video?
First school. I mean, this is, it's a hometown type situation. I mean, actually, we were working with the state of Alabama and the city of Cullman, and they arbitrarily chose where we would do this, and it just happened to be right here. So that actually made it easy for us to be able to facilitate that, to do site visits with other outlets and things like that, to be able to showcase this even after our media day that we had a month ago.
That and it's amazing. I want to back up just a little bit because you got emotional there. And do you have kids? I mean, 5?
5
I know you said you had a son. Who's the youngest?
So I have a youngest. She's 27. That's my daughter, Casey Dakota. Getting married in October.
Congrats.
Yeah, and then I got a son in Indianapolis that races cars for a living. He's 31. I have my next daughter, who is the director over the city wellness center here in Cullman, and my middle son, he's the director of the pro golf management program at Mississippi State University. So if you want to learn how to be in the business of golf, I got that.
Nice.
And then my oldest son helps me run the chaos around here.
Man, you got some good genes.
I don't know if I got good genes, but they listened when they were younger. They
That's
didn't
a big
adhere
part.
to it when they were younger, but when they got older, they're like, "Oh, now I know what you're talking about." So it all works out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I got a 5-year-old daughter. I live in Houston.
Okay.
So when the Uvalde thing happened last year, I mean, I had already been kind of on. I wouldn't say high alert, but I've been on just kind of not worried about it. I'm not walking around all day like who's going to shoot
Right.
up my kid's school, but I just you when you don't have a kid, you kind of think about it like, damn, that's fucking horrible. And then when you do have a kid, you're like, you have skin in the game, like real skin in the game,
Real.
and I can feel that emotion. I mean, that cuts real deep for me. I'm a hyper emotional person as it is, so me thinking about just those moments with those kids and the way things were handled, which I don't agree with. I've been vocal about it before. Now that on the other side of the coin, the guys in Nashville, I
Killed it.
applaud them for
Yeah,
the way they handled it. They
they
killed it,
yeah,
literally.
that's probably not probably the right term we should use in this situation, but
Yeah,
they did everything they were trained to do and then some.
correct. Yeah, and that day made me. I remember my wife going, they shot up another school. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it wasn't really. It was so wild because it really wasn't on the news
No.
when it first happened. Like I feel like Uvalde happened, and everyone and it was really everyone was talking about it, right? And then Nashville happened, and it kind of like took a little bit for the news. The news cycle's so fast, and you get used to things just boom, boom, boom.
All right.
And she just kind of said to me, and I go, where? And then I start digging in it, and I just am like, well, what the fuck are they going to do? And somehow, some way, I came across your guys' invention, I want to call it,
Right.
and immediately I hit you up on Instagram. I emailed you guys. I was like, I must talk to you, and I was hoping that you were going to say, I can't. I'm too busy. I just don't have the time, Paul. I will in a few months. Everyone's knocking down my door, and I'm sure they're knocking down your door more.
They are.
But I would hope that because the knee jerk reaction is to make it political, right, left. They're going to do their things, right, instead of just looking at each other and going. And I don't get political on this podcast, but this is a hotbed topic for politicism, I would say. And
Only if you're selfish is it a political item.
right, it should just be
That's it.
instead of the
That's
guns.
just my opinion, right?
I think that's you're making my long story short in a smart way. It should just go. They should see that and go, okay, how much money? What do you need? How much money do you have to give you? And we will put it in every school in the world, in the United States, tomorrow. I want you to be so busy that we have to open up factories. Instead, they're more worried about bitching and complaining and moaning about whatever stuff all the things.
It's all white noise to me. And
right.
I tune all that crap out, to be honest. And if this was going on in a different country, we would probably fund it hand over fist.
I could see that. I could see that 100%.
But it's not happening in another country. It's happening in our country, and we just sweep it under the rug, and then we pull out all the agenda cards and go to town on our agendas instead of the actual issues at hand. And that's where it gets politicized because we go back to agendas. I was actually talking to a foreign reporter, I believe from France, that covered Uvalde.
Okay.
And she said to me, I got there, and the first day it was about the kids and the educators and everything. And on day 2, they forgot the kids and the educators and turned it into an agenda-driven nightmare and inserting their opinions. And she said, we would get fired if we inserted our personal opinions into our news story. And that's where we are in America.
I was just going to.
This is nothing more than we have 50 news outlets in America, and they're all opinion columns.
Right.
That's all they are. I mean, now they're just opinions and emotions, and we forgot how to do fact reporting. We forgot because it doesn't get the likes, the hits, the mentions, all that social interaction that we've become accustomed to assigning value to, that in reality of life means absolutely nothing.
I 1,000,000% agree with you. It's unfortunate. I understand it's a sign of the times, and this phone that I have in front of me has changed the landscape in so many good ways and so many horrible ways. And it's funny because you figure, instead of making it like I'm a Bears fan and you're a Packers fan, they could just make it like, hey, we like football. We all like football, right? So we can start here and we can like our teams, but I don't hate you because you like football.
Well, here's the cool thing about that. You can tell me you're a Bears fan or a Packers fan, and I can tell you I'm a Saints fan for whatever reason. But here we are, and I am. And I was a Saints fan before Drew Brees. I'm a Saints fan after Drew Brees.
Okay.
So I have experienced all of what the Saints can bring to, being a fan, and so can Chicago, and so can Green Bay, right?
For sure.
So can any other NFL or major league sporting team. But the thing is, we can have heated, fun discussion and still go to lunch together.
That's right. And still watch the game together.
Different, right? And we will, and we actually want somebody rooting for the other team. That's what makes it fun when you got somebody at your house, because you can high five the ones that are on your side, and you can be pointing at the other ones on the other side, and it's all fun, right? But it doesn't have to end up so extreme. Like, everything's so extreme nowadays. We can't live in moderation. And I have friends, obviously, that are doing big things on the sports field. Actually, I could actually give him a shameless plug right now. I'm not, because I don't know how this works. But
go ahead and give it. I don't care.
If you ever wanted to get your high school or your junior high child into a almost fail-proof portal of getting seen on a higher stage, you need to go to Signing Day Sports.
Okay, Signing Day Sports. This is a little. It's related to kids.
Plug, but I was actually talking to the inventor of that yesterday. He goes, "Where have we gone wrong?" And I'm going to give you now we're talking opinion, because I'm not on cable television or network television, which we've kind of done all over the world in the last 3 weeks.
I love
it. There's really two simple things that we need to get back to. And we're a country without consequences for our actions, right? We have no consequences from the time we're 3 years old till right now as voting adults. And we're seeing the results of the no consequence society. That's what we have. And you can't have no consequence, because then.
Ooh, lost you for a second. Might have got a phone call. Oh, hold on one second. Don't talk. Your mic cut off. Uh-oh. Had a little technical difficulties reconnecting. He's right. I'll stay on that topic. The consequences. It's kind of nice to be able to have the internet and say whatever the hell you want and think, no one's going to do anything. Nothing's going to happen. I could say what I want. No one's ever going to hear me even. Only my friends are going to hear me. And then back in the day, old man here, you say something to somebody's face and they don't like it. They might, Rudy Gobert you, shove you or punch you in the face or, stand up to you. And now it's sometimes, I think more often than not, it's gotten to the point where Kevin's back.
My bad.
Hey, Adam. There he is. It's all good, brother. I see you.
My bad.
Did you get a phone call?
I did. People just can't not call. I mean, they don't know to not call, but you can't not. I mean, I think we have no consequences. That's number one in America. And if
Yep.
we can just get back to having a, you know, if there's no consequence, then there's nothing to curtail us from doing things we shouldn't do. Right.
That's right.
And the number two thing is we got to become unselfish again and learn who our people are around us. I mean, like I want people to care about me. I want to care about you. People don't know their neighbors' names anymore. They don't know the kids living down the street. They don't know anything. And I know if you grew up in a neighborhood in the 70s or 80s like I did, everybody had permission to tear my butt up.
Right.
And I can tell you, I never got a spanking or a paddling at school that I didn't earn. I earned all of them. Matter of fact, I probably should have received more than I did. They just didn't catch me in whatever it was I was doing.
Right.
Because I was a little rambunctious as a child. You know, I was always into something. Not anything really bad, but enough to get my butt tore up, and that's okay. And my kids, they got the same experience I did. And I refused to buy video games. Like I never bought one in my life for my children.
Awesome.
Now, in some ways, they tell me, "Hey, Dad, you did me an injustice. Now I don't know how to operate computers at the level that I need to." But I can tell you, my daughters can change their own oil, their own car, their own tire. They know how to read a paper map. They know that interstates are north and south and east and west, odd and even numbers. They know all that stuff because
That's phenomenal.
But they're miles ahead in their workspace now, as we talked about in the entry, because we made sure they had those core values instilled in them about not being selfish, that there are consequences for your actions, and that you need to be self-reliant and don't depend on other people to do things for you, whether that's pay your bills, whether that's cut your grass, whether that's change your tire, whether that's, make you happy. All of
For
these
sure.
things. And so I don't really apologize for how I went about it. It may not be for everybody, but I can tell you, being selfish and trying to live a life with no consequences and telling everybody that they're so great that they never do anything wrong and all this horse
The
crap.
worst.
It's just not, you're not helping the child. And when they become an adult, they have no coping skills because everything was either done for them or they were told they were perfect. When they get out in the real world, they realize they are not perfect because none of us are,
Right.
including me and you. And so they don't know how to cope with anything. And so we gotta not make everything so damn easy that we don't know how to do anything. We don't know how to do anything anymore. And that's half the problem. People get all amped up because their anxiety is so high because they have no decision, no skills to break down what's happening in their world and get it compartmentalized and deal with it in an adult manner or a child manner or just any kind of coping skills. And so they lash out, and these are the results that we're seeing. And it's just, so yeah, we do have a bigger problem than what my product is trying to provide, but it's providing protection while we get the other stuff reversed if we can. But it's going to take a buy-in of 350 million people.
And it's so crazy to me, the way you're talking, it's like, I taught my kids to do this, and people get outraged so fast about just everything, or they get on their side. But it's almost as if you were busy doing something and you had a little hardship and stuff you had to actually do instead of just doom scrolling your phone all day, and that's the only thing you're worried about is, did I get the likes? Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. And the occupational white noise in your brain just sits there and sits there and sits there. And then when something really happens, the outrage that you had for, let's say I have a remote in my hand, if people that aren't, watching, my remote's out of batteries and I lost my mind over these batteries being, out of juice. you can't lose your mind the same when the school shooting happens. The school shooting should be number one, and this should be negative 5 million on my scale of things to fucking worry about, you know? And I think the back to the phone and social media and stuff, kids now more than ever, they're just inundated with garbage, you know, and it's maybe not, garbage is a bad word to use, just stuff that's got nothing to do with nothing. And I understand, I'm sure you watch shows that have zero purpose in your life, but they're fun and entertaining. You do turn the goddamn TV off though and get to work.
Oh yeah.
You know,
you got to.
You 100% you have to, but we have to. I think now we're seeing it more and more that kids are being shown that, we don't really have to turn it off. You know, I can go do this and still be all right. It's like, no, you can't be all right. It's not going to happen.
In school and phones at work and all of this crap.
And that's where I think some of these, you know, unfortunately, like I had to look it up because I was curious. There in 2023, there's been 146 mass shootings already, and this is from Insider Magazine. Yep. This was done April 10th, 2023, so super recent. In 2022, it was 647 mass shootings. That's, you know, and some people will try to be like, oh, and that's also from the Insider. They'll try to say, oh, it was those are gang shootings. They go, no, this is school shootings, not gangbangers, not husband kills wife, wife kills husband, any of those crazy, horrible other things. Right. Literally just school shootings. And you guys have an easy, what to me seems like an easy no-brainer, just not a fix, but a quick solution, like you said, while we get through the other things, mental health. Do we need to figure out some gun stuff? I don't know. I don't like messing with the guns. I don't think they have to be much more restrictive. I do think we should start looking at people's brains and talking to people face to face and letting them get out those emotions and be like, hey, what's wrong? You know?
Again. There's a common thread. Now, I'm not one of those people that sit and try to depict all this stuff.
Sure.
But I think there is a common thread with what I said earlier, is that they went through an early life with not enough social interaction and dealing with issues at their level, whatever their level is, whether you're 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years old, you got to be able to deal with things that arise that are not comfortable in your world. I had them, right? I mean, I grew up, I was born in the hood in Memphis. Like when I say the hood, it's now been torn down and you don't go there in the daylight now where I was.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
I bounced around from place to place when I was younger, living with aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, friends. So I could have those same responses to my situation. I didn't have a bad childhood. It's just some circumstances, but I found out how to make it work in my world. Right.
Right.
So to say I don't understand would be naive on your part because you don't know me. But I can say that I do understand that you got to figure out a way to cope with that and not let it own you. Like, I'm not going to let that own me. I had bullies. I mean, I'm 5'7" and weigh 160 now. But when I was in school, I was the smallest guy in school, the smallest guy on the playground. And so we had the bullies that tried me. They didn't know I was from Memphis. I had to fight every day. So when I got to Mississippi, it was a walk in the park with those bullies. But yeah, they don't have anything on a Memphis bully. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, damn.
That's a little Comedy Central right there. But you learn how to deal with these things, right? And you got to face them head on. You can't let them own you.
Right.
You have to seize the moment and you got to make it work. But that's an inside thing that gets taught to you from your parents. I'll tell you what my middle son uses in some of his teaching at Mississippi State. He goes, look, we're a blank slate when we come into this world. Same thing when we come into this class when it comes to golf or whatever. He says, but off out of school talking about children, he says they're a blank slate. They're a blank chalkboard. They know nothing. They know nothing. Zero. They know zero. They don't know English. They don't know Spanish. They don't know French. They don't know German. They don't know.
They don't know hate.
They don't know anything.
The only thing I will say the one thing that they do know is love, and it's kind of crazy. It is. I didn't really notice. I didn't think about that. I wasn't never a baby guy, until obviously I had my daughter, and I thought it was so funny that they don't know anything but compassion when they start. Even if they're a boy like me and you, that's like once they get to a certain age, I bet you though when you first came out, it was mama's boy all the way, and if not, I mean I'm still a mama's boy, but they definitely they're blank slates covered in love, I guess is the best way to put it.
But whatever you as a parent put on that chalkboard, that's what they know.
100%.
That's what they know. What you expose them to is what they know. What you don't expose them to is what they don't know.
Right.
And so as a parent, you have a responsibility that's bigger than anything you did before the day that child was born. It's bigger than you. So
that's right.
Back to my other thing. You got to become unselfish at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about you anymore until the day you're gone.
That's right. It's a hard switch for people to turn on.
Because I was a selfish, self-centered POS, right?
Same.
And it was about Kevin. And that was all it was about. And then I had kids, and it hadn't been about me since. Now, you got to be selfish enough to get up, get dressed, take care of yourself, go to work, do the things you got to do. But you're also doing that not only for you, you're doing that for your family, right? Whatever your family looks like. It could be 2 cats and a dog. I don't know. But
sure.
You still got to get up and do those things. So I feel like we got some life problems that are the bigger problems. And those are not going to be solved in 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
It took us decades to get here. And I feel like some of it was instigated to get us to this point. So we are depending on somebody else to do everything for us. And that's what I feel like our government wants some days. And I'm not going to play their hand just because I want to be self-sufficient. And I'm going to get up and do what I got to do to take care of mine. Right.
Right.
And nobody's going to get in my way. That's how I was before this. Now, my purpose is even bigger. Not only am I trying to take care of my little family village, I got 2 grandkids right downstairs, 5 and 3. They're down there right now, a boy and a girl, talking about all love. And I'm making sure that they get the necessary things they need for survival, because at the end of the day, it's our job to teach our children how to survive without us. That's the goal from the day they're born. The day they're born, you're not, it's not like puppy dog stuff. You're now in teaching mode 24/7, 365 days a year, and you have to teach them how to survive in a world if you're not there.
Yep, in a world that's
those life skills. If you don't give them those life skills, where are they going to get them from? They're going to get them from the street. They're going to get them from
Instagram,
and the Instagram, because that's the cool way to live. Well, that's not real life.
That's not reality.
No, your grass will get really tall if you think that's how life goes. And so there's a lot that goes into fixing the problem. And I've gotten some naysayers on my stuff, right, that I've done. It's like, oh, well, you do this, but you can't fix the effing gun problem, and you can't fix the mental problem. Nobody said that that's not fixable, and that I'm not interested in that. But I'm going to ask you, Paul, what are you going to do today? I want to know, when you get off this podcast, what are you going to do that's going to fix gun control issues the way everybody wants it, and you're going to fix all the mental issues for 350 million individuals by dark? I want it done by dark. Tell me what you're going to do. Go. Nothing.
Impossible.
You can't do it.
Nope.
And so the people that say those things on Instagram, just literally prove my point.
Yep.
The stupidity is just run amok.
They want the clicks, man. They want the clicks, and I figured this thing would get all the clicks. The
It got
razor,
them all. It got
you
them
know.
all. But I can tell you, here's the thing: everybody that's agenda driven hates my product. Everybody that's a concerned person about humanity loves it.
That
So
blows my mind.
you just got to decide: are you a selfish, agenda driven POS? Or do you actually care about the kids and the educators and anybody else that may have to go into one of these scenarios and not walk out of it today?
Right.
I'm just not interested in playing politics with anybody. And
No.
I'm talking about emotion. I'm quick to defend my position and I don't back off and I don't back down and I don't get bullied. People have been trying to bully me for 55 years. And if you ask any of my friends, they'll tell you, I've seen this little guy here, he'll climb on 6'3" or 5'7" and all in between. I may get my butt kicked, but I'm not going to back down and you're not going to run me out of town because you think you can intimidate me. It will not happen. I got wide shoulders and I got strong back and I'm ready to go.
I love that. Do you think your the obviously I know you said that Congress reached out to you, right, about your product, or have they
Headed to Washington on Monday?
Okay. Wow.
It's
Because I was curious about the government. Were they just immediately like, yes, how do we do this?
It's another thing like mental health and all these other things. That's a road that doesn't begin and end in sight, right? You got to start the journey, and because there's a lot of moving parts and things that have to be done. So you do things legally and correct, and we want them to be lasting and meaningful. So you can't just crack a whip and it's done, right? It's got to be methodically thought out, laid out. There's got to be a plan, and you got to get like-minded people that understand what we're actually trying to accomplish here. And I think we have that now. I mean, I think we have enough people in Washington that actually want to make a difference, throw the party out the window,
and they just be there together.
Well, to do what we elected them for.
Right.
Right? Those are our people. We're the boss.
100%. Supposedly.
100% supposedly.
Yeah.
But we've kind of, they've lost their way and we've lost our way of enforcing them to do what they're supposed to do as our elected officials. They have now seen this as a business model instead of a public service position.
For sure.
And that's why we got all the corruption right now. That's why we got all the craziness. That's why we got all the finger pointing. That's why we have all of the divisiveness, right? That's why they don't want certain people that are not part of the clique in office. I mean, we can go on and on as to why. But that's, again, white noise. Yep. It's not going to change today. It's not going to change tomorrow. So I think we do have a lot of people in Congress that are there, Democrat and Republican. Now, I don't want to pick a side because I'm not going to pick a side, that actually care. Now, sometimes the ones that are on both sides of the fence that actually do care are not the ones we hear from the most, right? We love the extremes. There again, we're looking for that sound bite, right?
That's right.
And we get those from extreme left. We get those from extreme right, neither of which I agree with. I don't believe in extremism of any point because then I think you miss the point of being able to listen to the other side.
That's right. Echo chambers don't do anybody any favors.
No, they just don't. They don't. So, I live in the world of common sense. Wherever you fall in that is where you fall in that. And that's where I live. I can't live any other place because I don't know any other place. Right. I grew up that being instilled in me, and decision making and problem solving. Like, they didn't solve them for me. They said, I'll give you the tools to solve it. You're going to fix the issue, whether it's the lawnmower breaking down or a flat tire or I'm out of gas or the oil needs to be changed, whatever it is.
Right.
And so you got to have all of those. And then you also got to have whatever it is you want to do professionally. I mean, I went to architectural school, but I also know how to bale hay and grow corn. Whatever
Yeah.
you want to do, I can do it. Right. I have a love for design, so that's the way I went. But I have all those other skills to get me through life. And Congress is no different, right?
Sure.
They have to have consequences for their actions, and there hasn't been here lately. And we just got to get back to just doing things for the right reasons, and life can be so much better. We're not talking money, because I think that's another problem. Everybody wants to measure success by money, and they left out the number one measuring stick, in my opinion, which is character.
That's a great one.
It's just not. It's not hard. So I have friends that are millionaires and billionaires, literally, and I have friends that probably don't know where they're going to eat tonight.
Yep.
Right? I have them all, and I love them all the same, because I'm not driven by money. I mean,
Right.
money doesn't drive what I get up and do every day. I have conviction about wanting to do certain things. And if I'm going to get involved in something, I'm going to do it to the best of Kevin's ability and not apologize for that. And that gets me through. And if you get up and you pour everything you have into what you're doing, the money will just show up. You do it better than everybody else. That's why. I don't care what you're doing.
I wish people realize that more often than not, that, yes, obviously you need money to do stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you find something that, you can really pour your work and heart into, the money is going to come. Now, it may not be Elon Musk dollars.
That's right.
But it'll be enough where you're happy and living a good life. And, Lamborghinis don't bring happiness.
No, they don't.
So you definitely, and it's funny, there's so many people I've talked to now with this show and just in my life, and the successful people that are happy, whether they are a successful garbage man or they're a successful business owner, they all say the same thing. I just do my best. I do my absolute best and pour my heart into it, and just continue to make it better. And guess what? Things kept getting better. Were you ever in the military?
I was. Yeah, 2
where-
years. I was in the Army in Fort Bliss until I broke my foot in half, and they thought that I would never walk without a limp again. So, we're right there with entrenching tools, if you know what I mean. They say that an entrenching tool is worth more than we were. That's what they used to tell us in basic.
Yeah.
So I never forgot that.
That's I've heard that before.
So I was right up until that happened, because I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, and I was on my way until that happened, and I am.
Oh, wow.
Now. I just don't fly helicopters. I fly fixed wings. So.
Oh, nice. I when I was in the Navy, I flew in the back of helicopters. I was a rescue swimmer.
Oh, there you go. Oh, well, I'm not that.
And
I'll
yeah,
take you with me.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have the best luck. I was in a helicopter crash and broke my back. So.
Oh, wow.
But
way bigger a foot.
we're here now. Those rapid. I can't remember the name. The rapid deployment rooms.
It's a R.A.S.R. So that's why we did that, just so you can kind of backwards do it. It's rapid access safe room.
Okay. The rooms though that you use that you were telling me about earlier and before the show started, that basically were the first thing you did, and then the R.A.S.R was born.
Yes.
That you were doing for the military and for the homeless.
Yeah, it's
what are those called?
Deployment housing units. We can build those in 20 minutes. They're a hard-sided structure, just like that, insulated, heated, air conditioned, and
what are they made out of?
They're made like a SIPS panel, which is a structurally insulated panel system, is what SIPS stands for.
Wow.
And so it has steel framing inside of it, rigid insulation, and it's skinned with 2 layers of aluminum on each side. So it's a hard-sided panel, and they're panelized in 8-foot wide sections, and you can put these together with no equipment in about 20 minutes. 3 guys can put them together in 20 minutes, and you will be in a heated and air-conditioned housing unit. It's got folding beds. It's got desks.
Wow. And you designed that all yourself? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, I designed all of that. Yes, sir.
That's amazing. And the military uses those too?
The military, we use those for disaster relief efforts. We just got back from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, 2 days ago, dropping some off that they're going to use for like first responder village type stuff for like their first responders, because it has a bed and an office, so you can literally work and sleep right there if you're with Red Cross or United Way or whoever, right?
Wow.
And then also people that have been displaced from their homes, they can use those as temporary housing until they get something more permanent.
That's amazing.
And because we can literally build an entire community in a day if we needed to.
That's so crazy. And then when the horrible shit that happened last year happened, and the wife came a knocking to you. How did you know, ballistics wise and all that for this? I'm curious that I know once you figured out the design and how you wanted to do it, where did you start? Okay, it's got to be bulletproof. How do I figure that piece out? Kind of explain that whole craziness, because that can't be easy.
Yeah, well, yes and no. So we already have a production facility that knows how to build panelized structures, right?
Got it.
Rapid deployment housing units, which are 8 by 8 by 7 feet tall. These are 8 by 8 by 9 feet to 10 feet tall, depending on what the ceiling height is. So the actual construction is very similar. The operating mechanism to make it movable changed, but we just had to figure out within our panel system what part of that would be ballistic, and then we would fill in the rest with our self-extinguishing foam that we use. So those two components would make up our 2-inch thick system, and we were familiar with using Honeywell ballistic products, which is what we use. And so I talked to the powers that be at Honeywell, and I told them, look, this is the level of protection, which is an NIJ level 3. It stopped anything up to a 308. Bullet stops ARs, AKs, dang near every handgun out there.
Wow.
And we did that because we did the studying on, okay, what firearms have been used to date in weapons for school shootings. And so we want to make sure that if we're going to do something, obviously we need to protect against what's being used. Otherwise, we're not doing anything.
For sure.
And I could show you off the air. I won't do it here. What we have stopped, and it's far more than that.
That's amazing
level, but it's not anything that I can say that that's what this does with, right?
Right.
But we went down that road with Honeywell. We got the correct stopping power, and obviously, I think one of the reasons after going through this whole design phase, there are a lot of different ways to stop bullets, right? Whether it's steel armor, there's some thicker fiberglass options. There's all kinds of things, but weight ends up being the nemesis using those, right?
For
they're
sure.
effective, but they're not weight friendly. So if you're going to have something that needs to be operational and movable in the way that our system works, weight is the other part of the battle, right?
Yep.
So that's what we had to go down with Honeywell and say, okay, this is what we have. Give me the lightest weight product you have with this level of stopping power. Where are we at? And they said, we have that. We use that now for building armored vehicles.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I was going to say. It's got to be for cars.
Yeah. So we went down that road, and I said, okay, well, I need it panelized, so I need it straight, I need it hard, and I need it to fit in this much wall space as far as our panel. Where are we at? So we went through the testing process, and we got it to where we have it now, and it's like 5/8 of an inch thick, and it weighs 3.5 pounds.
Oh, got another phone call. I'm gonna put on the screen real quick one more time while he's dealing with that call, probably. Of just what it looks like. In case you haven't seen it, it's wild. Here, let's fast forward a little bit. Here she is pulling it out, the wall, and it basically is it's just two sides, and it snaps into place. It's on a hinge. It's got a metal handle. If you want to look it up, just Google KTS Security Solutions. And it says Creative Corner on it. There, it's got a big old wheel on the front, and then a deadbolt lock. I think Kevin's back. He's back. It's all good, man. You're a busy man. I like it.
Yeah. That's actually the state school superintendent for Louisiana call.
Oh, damn.
Or the guy that is in touch with them, I should say, not actually the state school superintendent, but the guy that I'm working with to get to them. So,
okay.
But anyway, send him away. So we went down that road with Honeywell to get the lightest weight with the most stopping power, because we knew we had to have it maneuverable. And I think that's probably the reason why this maybe hadn't been done in the past, because people weren't willing to go that drastic. But we're now in a time of, we got to do drastic stuff because we have things we got to stop. I mean, we've got to stop this epidemic of taking our selfish situations in our personal lives out on others, and especially kids.
That's right.
It shouldn't be taken out on anyone. I mean, if we're just being real.
Sure.
But kids should be off limits to all things like this. I mean, they should not be where we go and get our casualty number. If you want to do that, go in there and fight it up amongst yourselves. Do something, whatever it is. I don't know, but schools are a sacred zone. I mean, that's like when I was a kid, you didn't go to schools and you didn't go to churches. And if you're a bad person, you even had that much ethics about being bad for the most part.
Right.
I mean, I remember when I was in school, at lunchtime, we'd go out and look at somebody's new deer rifle in their car or truck and didn't think anything about doing anything crazy with it other than, it's time to go, it's deer season, so I'm skipping school now. We would do that. But, we just didn't have those thoughts as a society. Not, there's always going to be a bad person here and there, but we weren't society driven in that regard, right?
There was more serial killers back then than anything.
And you know what we had though? We had consequences.
That's you 100% had some consequences.
We had consequences at home. We had consequences at school. We had consequences with law enforcement. We had consequences with government. They didn't play.
Nope.
Didn't play. I mean,
there was no second place trophies.
No, there's no such thing.
Right.
You either win or you go get better.
You
can win, right? So I don't even consider it losing. I mean, and I know you're familiar, and I can tell this story because it's kind of fits where parenting has went sideways. So my son played, my middle son, the race car driver up in Indianapolis. He played travel baseball. Had a scholarship to go play baseball or go racing. He chose racing after he realized he had to go to school and actually study, and he didn't want to have any part of that.
Okay.
He was one of those that he's like, no, that's not for me, so I'm going to go racing. But when we were playing travel baseball, the very first tournament of our very first travel baseball weekend when he was 9 years old. Now, he was like the star of the city league, right? Little bitty. He was real small like his dad. But he had really good athletic skills. But we get to the travel league, everybody's got those skills.
Right.
Not just one guy, right? All the kids. So all the good kids are there. And we actually won the USSSA World Series when he was 11. So they were really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So my son plays every inning of every baseball game up until this day. So we go there and he don't play but maybe 2 innings when we were up by 1 million, right? And So I go to the coach. I said, and he's been practicing with them for a month, and and we work on stuff at home and yada yada yada. And I said, I go to the coach, and he's used to the typical parent, not this parent. And I go to him, and he'll tell this story too. Right now, we're still friends, and my son's 31 now, and we're still friends with that coach.
That's
and he
so funny.
said, he goes, look, if you're coming here to bitch and complain that your kid didn't play enough, he said, you're in the wrong place. I said, oh, no. You're not even knowing where I'm going. I said, I want to know why he's not playing, but I want to know what we need to go home and work on so that he does play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't blame you. If he's not that good, he's not that good. Put his ass on the pine. That's where we go. Now, I'm asking you, what makes him make you make that decision that he doesn't play? He says he's not getting down on his ground balls when he charges them and they're going under his glove. This is how you got to do that. Right? I remember this. We went home and I hit ground balls at my son, yard darts, just as fast as I could hit them. And in probably 2-3 weeks, now he's the starter in center field. Right?
That's awesome.
So I think that's what we've lost. We have an expectation that our kid is perfect and the best, and the next Mickey Mantle or the next Jeff Gordon or the next this, that, or the other, when in fact they haven't put in enough effort to be anything.
Right.
So we got to stop creating false expectation, because that's when they get out in the real world and they still have that expectation of what
I'm the best
at home. And it just don't work. It doesn't work in the real world. And guess what? The real world gives zero shits about you.
Yeah, I was going to say zero fucks about your how great you are until you are actually great. Then they start paying attention.
And then they are. And then they're like, oh, all the love. And then they want to be your friend and all this stuff. And you're like, oh, no. We don't play that here. So, but that's, man, I could just go on for hours. But I'm just I want to protect our kids in the interim until we fix all these other problems. But Paul and Kevin, no matter how much we want, cannot fix those other problems until everybody buys in to we help create the problem.
That's right.
And until we can admit that and leave our ego at the door, we're just not going to get there. And I don't think there's enough people willing to get their egos out of their way to do what they are have the talents to do. Everybody in this world has talents to do something in this world better than the next person. And It could be anything, right? It could be landscaping. It could be
painting a house, for Christ's sakes. I mean,
it doesn't matter. And the thing is, people have stopped assigning that as a prideful moment, right? I take pride in being able to weed eat better than other people, right? I like to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just stupid on all kinds of levels. Some people,
right?
But I like it. It's like therapy. I go out, I put my headphones on, and nothing's in there but my music. I don't hear anything. I don't answer the phone, and I'm just doing me, right?
Right.
And it's a great day. But I'm also doing the skill. And that can apply to anything. It can apply to your podcast. It can apply to my manufacturing. It can apply to whatever. Stop assigning a money value to your worth.
That's right. Yeah, it's you're a lot more than the dollar bill in your pocket. You ever seen Fight Club?
Yeah. All right.
So there's a saying in there. You're not the contents of your wallet, and I think it's a fantastic saying. Wow. I mean, that movie's got a ton of one-liners in it, but that, and it's extreme. It's great. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But that particular little quote from Brad Pitt is awesome because it literally is. I mean, everybody thinks, I got a black Amex. I'm better than you. It's like, and I see it a lot in the industry that I'm in, which is sports cards, and I preach about it a lot. A lot of people have things, and they think that because they have those things, they are above you in some way. And I always say, if you're still a piece of shit, and I'm an honorable guy and a good guy, not necessarily a nice guy, but a good guy, that you can rely on, and I'm trustworthy and all these other great qualities, and you got a fucking Michael Jordan rookie card and you're a piece of shit, man, I could care less. I'm happy for you. It seems like you're doing great things on the financial side of things. That's only going to last for so long, brother. And one day that reality is going to come crashing down.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you ever listen to Steve Harvey quotes.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's full of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And 99.9% of them are awesome, in my opinion, if you really pay attention and listen to what he says. And I know he said one that money doesn't make you good or bad. It just accentuates what you were before.
Yes. I have 100% heard that quote.
And he's like, if you're a piece of shit, you're just a bigger piece of shit. If you're a good guy, you're helping everybody.
That's right.
And that doesn't mean with necessarily money, but it gives you the means to do the things that need to be done. And so you'll find out who that person is. And I can tell you right now, I've been a millionaire and broke so many times because I give it away because I just don't care about money. People are like, why do you do that? I said, because I know how to get up and make money tomorrow. I'm not worried about the money.
Right.
And I don't have to have the stuff. I don't need the stuff. I don't need to live in Beverly Hills. I don't need to live in the Hamptons. I don't need that. I could have at any point in time in my life, but I could care less about that. But that guy that living under the bridge that didn't have anything to eat, and I could see that he was really hungry and he wasn't trying to do the wrong things. He was in a bad spot. I'm going to the grocery store and I'm filling that guy up, right?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. That's that. By far the coolest. Cars are cool and you can enjoy them. Life is cool. There's a bunch of cool things that can make up your life,
I got that. I got all the cars. I got the cars. I got German cars. I got American muscle cars. I got old cars. I got motorcycles. What you want? You want it? Come get it. I don't care. I can care less. I don't even drive the stuff. I still drive an old pickup truck every day. You know why? Because I don't care. I have certain things because they were in front of me and dangled in front of me when I was the kid from the hood that had nothing. And I said, I'll show you.
Yep, I'm the same. I'm the same way. I'm not on your level financially, life wise, but I've fallen into the same traps. And as I've gotten older, I've tried to just be less about things. Having a kid helps. You kind of just like you said, the selfishness starts to really get broken away, and you're like, man, fuck this. Yeah, everything's for you. And I hope you have a great time and. I'll get my little scraps here and there that make me happy. As long as I get to work out an hour a day, I'm a pretty happy guy.
There you go.
I mean,
it's just like I'm going to give you the highlight of my day 2 days a week because we keep our grandkids 2 days a week, right?
Oh, nice.
Just because we can and we want to, not because we have to, right?
Right.
But my 3-year-old granddaughter comes in those 2 days, and of course we go see them because I can't go that long without seeing them. She comes in every day. She's 3, little blonde-headed, blue-eyed Elsa-looking thing, and she runs in and she goes, "Pops!" and she's got her arms out and she's dead sprinting every time she comes through the door. My pops, and just jumps in my arms for 3 seconds. Highlight of my day.
Nothing like it on the planet Earth. Nothing like it.
Nothing.
Yeah, I just. My daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Every time. And I'm a big crier with her, so God damn it. Second time I've cried on my goddamn podcast, for Christ's sake.
It'd be all right.
And
so let's talk about whatever else you want to talk about, because I'll tear up like just a bitch.
Well, I mean, back to this.
But I love kids. That's it. I love it.
And that's probably where a lot of this, I would say 90%. It's so funny. You're like the perfect person for this task. You have the architectural design background. You have a great head on your shoulders. Sounds like you have a fantastic family. You have the means, which is usually, some people have great ideas, but they just don't have the means to make it happen. And there's a movie called Robots, and this stupid quote, it's not stupid, but this quote from that silly movie always stuck in my head, and it was, see a need, fill a need. And you basically were the perfect person for this job. Now, is there a 2.0 on the way, or is there new modifications or improvements?
There are variations of this, right? Meaning that we have the deployable version that everybody's been seeing. I mean, we're at somewhere between 250 and 300 million interactions in the last month, which is
amazing.
And then we have a fixed position version that can be anything that you need it to be.
Okay.
Size wise. And then we have already designed, and hopefully getting to implement some of these soon, systems for general assembly areas, be it gymnasiums, cafeterias, libraries.
Wow.
Things when there's more than just a classroom of children, because we can build something that's maybe 5 feet deep and 100 feet long, right?
Right.
Or whatever the building structure allows. Like a gymnasium, we can literally build that and just kind of shorten the width or the length of the entire situation, and it gives a safe zone for everyone in there to get in that scenario.
Is it like a huge wall that you would?
It's not movable. It's basically like I just built a wall in front of the wall out of ballistic materials and put a lid on it, and you have 2 or 3 different access points to get in depending on where you're coming from. If you're on the court, you can run in the middle. If you're in the left side stands, you can run in the left door. If you're in the right side stands, you can run in the right door.
Holy shit.
So we have thought about those immensely, and we have already designed those for a school cafeteria actually here in Coleman, because it has roadside access, and so we want to give them the opportunity to be in a safe zone in case something like that happens, because it's so close to the street. But that's an existing school that was built when stuff like this didn't matter.
Sure.
Right. So so yes, there are 2.0s, I guess you would call those, but
right.
They're more like variations of what we have. And we can doctor these things up to aesthetically look like whatever we want them. If you don't need dry erase board material, heck, I can wrap them and put sponsor logos or school things on them. If they're in a gymnasium, I can put basketball or volleyball murals on these things, right? So they just go away. You don't even know what it is. You don't have to know what it is. You just need to know that it's there.
Is any motorized versions?
I have stayed away from the motorized versions intentionally because I don't want things to fail.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering if anybody was like, whoa, what if a kid needs to do it? I
have some things that are coming that we're literally putting on the ones that we have existing that will assist in the opening of. I mean, like the teacher that's utilizing the one in her classroom right now. She's literally 5 foot even. On a good day, she says, and 100 pounds. And she does this all the time. Right. So to say that they can't, are they heavy? Yes, but they actually roll really well.
It seems like super easy.
I mean, it's all relative, right? Is it a feather? No, it's not a feather. It stops bullets. Come on, get up off me. But it's doable, and then we're also working on some mechanisms that will assist even an older, weaker type teacher that may be closer to retirement that maybe does need some assistance. And I have that already designed. I just got to go put it in.
That's awesome.
And I know it will work because it works on other items, and I'm not going to really get into that because I'm sure there are people that may listen that want to try to piggyback.
Copy.
Yeah, copycat. So
is it speaking of copycats, is it patented?
Oh yeah.
I figured. Okay.
Started on day one. I have patents on our rapid deployment housing units. I have them on our rapid access safe rooms. Pretty much that's the first thing that I do now, because I could go back and tell you some funny things. If you've ever had a baby changing station in a bathroom,
yep,
that you see all the time. When my first born was born, I literally turned that into the Invention Submission Corporation, and I feel like they stole my idea because I couldn't pay them the fees, and if I would have read the small print, that's where we are. So I think they're a bunch of thieves, but that's just my opinion. That's not
Whoa.
fact. That's not fact. That's opinion. So don't hold me to that. That's just how I feel in my heart because I did that once upon a time, and that was something I came up with when I was 23.
Holy shit.
Um,
That's crazy.
yeah,
What
and
a you
people
were
laugh
a
at me and
clever
say,
dude, man.
well, I mean, it's just necessity. I'm Mr. Dad, right? I'm walking around. I got this baby on my hip, and because I was all in on dad stuff, right, from day one. Uh, but I'm
These
looking,
damn kids, man, they make us cry.
oh, they do. They're terrible. I hate them little things. No, just kidding. But I'm looking. I got to go to the bathroom, and I got to change him. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do?
Right.
I have no idea what we're going to do here because I'm not laying them down on this nasty countertop and blah blah blah.
Gross.
And so I come up with that, and yeah, rest is history on that. So I learned my lesson on that one.
That's awesome. So the room, how many schools have it right now?
Just one. Just one.
Just
That was
one.
literally our pilot program. So we could show the world what it's capable of doing, how it works. And luckily in the state of Alabama, I know enough people to show them that idea and ask them what they think that are in the state government. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes,
Yes,
we want to be
please.
a part of this. We want to do it in Alabama first, and we want to show the rest of the world that we're going to lead the way in innovation of how to protect our kids. And the state signed up for that on the pilot program end. And then, going forward, I've been working on the government side of things almost as long as I've been working on getting this to production level
Okay.
because I knew that was going to be the biggest task in front of us is getting this funded because it's not the fault of the schools that
They don't have
they need this now, right? It's a community problem, and it's going to take the community to help get this implemented. It shouldn't be the burden of just a school system alone. We created the problem. We need to help create the solution.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
As a community, right? And the community is 350 million people strong. So that's how I look at it. I think everybody's got good in them. We just got to go find it again, man. We just got to go find it. We got to go find it.
That's right. You how long does it take to build one? If I say, "Hey, I want one," I want one.
We can build several. I mean, we're next week taking delivery on some more automated equipment to speed up the process even more. But I mean, we can build about 5 to 10 systems a day, depending on what they are, which is not bad because we've also are talking with several different manufacturing companies around the country to license them to also build this so
Oh,
that we
wow.
can logistically keep the prices where they need to be. Um, the price is driven by the ballistics
Of
that
course.
we're using. And if you tried to go price it out, you would find that we're actually a bargain when it comes to buying that level of material, right? Um, and that's what just people don't know that don't buy ballistics every day. But like if you go buy a hand shield for a police officer, for this level and this weight, now they've got this level, but they're heavier because I talk to the SWAT team guys and people like that all the time. And they're like, no, our stuff stops it, but it weighs 50 pounds. And I'm like, well, what if I built you one that had the same stopping power that weighed 14?
Yeah, it'd be
Like,
crazy.
that's a game changer. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I can do that. And I'm working on that and I'm going
It's
to
like
do it.
Captain America shield, basically.
Right. So, so that's what drives that. But um, we're working to get that price down as much as we can. But
Right.
it is what it is. And in my opinion, are we putting prices on lives now? Is that what we're doing?
Sure.
Because we're not doing that anywhere else when we're spending money. I mean, we send money to the healing arts to make sure, the
We
lighting is
we
right.
spend $1,500 on a cell phone. So
it just keeps going,
let's
right?
talk here.
But I mean, like a shield for an officer, it could be $3,000 to $5,000.
Holy shit! I mean, I'm not surprised.
But I mean, and I'm not saying entry level, but like a lesser level, they're still $1,500. I mean, look it up online. I'm not making this up. This is just stuff anybody can look up.
Right.
So when you equate out the amount of square footage of material that we're using, we're actually in the bargain material price wise.
For sure.
but we're using premium material production wise. So what we're doing is all I can do to get the price where it is. And because it's not cheap, right?
No.
Not cheap because it's not cheap.
Right. It's not like you're like, it cost me $5 to make $7,000. You know?
Right. Yeah. No, not even close. Like if it costs 50, then it costs me 47. Right.
Right.
I make money on other things in other places. This is something that just has to be done. And my wife, the other part of the statement was, she said in the day she called, she says, I said, why are you putting this burden on me? That was actually what I actually said. I said, why are you putting this burden on me? I said, I'm just a guy, right? You know, I'm just your husband. Why are you putting this burden on me? And she said, because I know if you start,
it's happening.
You won't stop until it's done.
I love it. That's a
my
good wife right there.
Well, that's my mentality on everything. Now, there are people, you know, you were in the Navy, right?
Yep.
You've seen that mentality everywhere at an extreme level, right? Because I know some SEAL team guys, and my mentality is nothing unique at all, and it's not even at the level of a lot of people. But in my world, in my house, with my wife and my children, that's how we do everything as a family. If you start it, you finish it. Period. I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this is no different. Just the scale of it's bigger, right? So I had to suit up and be ready for all that comes with it. And that includes being on a podcast with Paulie Donuts, right?
That's right.
That includes tomorrow being on Fox News in the morning, right? Live. I had no idea. I got that text message while I was trying to figure out how to get a hold of you on this thing. Right? So my technological skills are not very good.
Right.
But I love what I'm doing because I feel like not only will our product make a difference in sending children and educators home tonight, I'm getting a platform now to hopefully bring us all back together.
That'd be awesome. That's a great way to look at it. And
that's what I see.
I'm happy. You know, I'm happy. There's people like you out there that have the means and are willing to put their mind to it and see it through instead of, you know, lip service. And I really do hope that Congress, government in general, every single news outlet, every single school is just knocking down your door, trying to find a way to make it happen, and just saying, okay, like let's just do this for now, and we can figure out the other stuff. You know, it's so funny. You know, it's just the old saying. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And the elephant right now is this, you know, bullshit, shitty school shootings that are happening at an insane rate. That this is it's not a simple fix. It's a tool. I talked about this earlier today in something else, but it's a tool that we could use very simply every single place. And and you know, Kevin, like I said when we first started, I didn't even say this, but I thought it. And I'm like, I don't know what, you know, we're going to end up talking about, but I am so thankful that I got to take some of your time and speak to you emotionally and a little bit politically and about a sad situation in mostly in our country, which is wild. Yeah. And I just wanted to thank you for all that you're doing. And your family that are also involved. And I hope it grows. I hope to see it on, you know, every social media post. I hope every damn school in the world is finding a way to do it. I'm going to ask my daughter's school, like, hey, have you reached out to this person? Why don't we have one in each one of these classrooms here? They're building a brand new school right down the street where my daughter's going to end up going. Literally, not even a mile away. And they're building it.
That's another thing about our product, right? So it's an investment product. If you're building, if you have a 50-year-old school right now and you need it in there, but you know you're going to be building a new school in 2 or 3 years to replace that 50-year-old school, let's just say,
Right.
or just because your community has grown and you have to build an additional school, and that one's going to close down, whatever's going to happen, you can remove these from that existing school. It's just like a desk or a computer, and you take it to the new school. And as long as you have those provisions in place, you never lose your investment. It's not a throwaway product that you have to leave behind in those situations. And there's no reason. And like I'm working literally when I get off this call, I got to go back downstairs and I'm working with an architect in South Carolina that we're designing stuff to go into the schools. So now we can actually properly prepare the school for what needs to be done going forward. And we are using the think tank part of this to redesign schools to have these provisions in place.
Right.
And then we can design things a little differently because we designed the school to accommodate having a safe area without having to go into hallways and go into where the threat may be, right?
Sure.
And if I can help get in on the front end of the design side, then we can create these rooms where it goes into the construction of the school, and then it doesn't cost hardly. I mean, it's almost not noticeable,
right,
in the building of the new school, and then it's done. When you look at something like this as an aftermarket, retroactive type fitting up of a school, you only see the price of this product, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is expensive. But if we had to go back and retrofit schools with fire suppression systems, we only saw the price of the fire suppression system, people would go, oh my gosh, that's expensive.
No shit.
It's actually not expensive in what it does.
Right.
It just looks expensive standing out there on a street corner naked by itself.
Right.
And so that's the misconception of people that don't do this on a daily basis, whether it be construction or architectural design or working with ballistic products on the daily. The people that understand what we're doing look at the price and go, that's not that bad. I mean, I've had that conversation.
Oh, I
and then
bet.
I've also got, a short order cook, literally calling me being an expert on ballistics and architecture and installation and telling me how big of an idiot I am.
Oh,
right. So, and I'm like, but I don't tell you how to make fries. I don't get it. And that's no dig, because I was the fry guy at Wendy's. Okay?
Sure.
I get it. And I was the bag boy at Kroger. And I needed all of those things, right? But it molds you into what you're going to do forward. But don't pretend to be an expert in something that you're not an expert in.
That's right.
And that's where conversation needs to happen instead of finger pointing. And we do a lot of finger pointing without having a conversation.
That's right. All amazing points, I think, hit. I hope everyone listens to the whole thing. You were a fantastic guest, Kevin. And I don't want to keep you any longer because I know you're probably a lot busier than I am. And I hope you are. I hope you're so busy. You're like, oh man, I need to multiply myself.
We have a great team. That's all I can say. We have a great team that share the passion.
And like I said before, thank you to the team. Thank you to you. Anyone that's watching this or listening, I'm looking at you right now. Don't like, share, comment on my YouTube podcast for me. Share it with your friends. Share what you don't even have to share my podcast. Just go to Kevin's website, ktsecuritysolutions.com. You'll be able to see it there, or just Google Alabama Safe Room School and any of those words, and it will pop up. And if you haven't seen it yet, you can watch on this little podcast here or on YouTube, anywhere. I hope the word gets spread max capacity, because there is zero excuses, and Kevin is doing all the work for everybody to make it happen. So people just need to sign on, and that's anyone that's listening or watching me talk to you right now. Other than that, just lost Kevin again. I'll wait till he comes back. But please like, comment, subscribe. Please go to ktsecuritysolutions.com. Check out what Kevin is making, and just inform yourself. It's an awesome tool. It's something every school should have. Talk to your, state officials, write your congressman, do whatever you have to do to make sure the word spread out. Welcome back, Kevin. Kevin's a busy man, gets a lot of phone calls, and that's amazing. Hopefully they're all great people, and their school's saying we must have this in every single classroom. Other than that, Kevin, do you have anything else you want to put out to promote, or tomorrow you're going to be on Fox News live?
That's what I'm hearing. I got to check and see what they've been emailing me since then. I have a lady that takes care of all of that and is doing an outstanding job. So I'm not real sure, but I'm thinking yes, I'm supposed to be on there in the morning.
I love it. Everybody, if you don't, this won't be out yet, but you will see who Kevin is, and I imagine in the future you're going to see his face a lot more come 2024 when things start really bubbling up in the race, if you know what I mean. I hope you are. I hope you are
I just want to protect our kids, and I'll let politics politicize it, or politicians. They can do it ever how they want to do it. I don't really care as long as it's effective in getting the job done.
Damn straight.
But this right here is the most bipartisan issue, and it's like I'm going to say this, and then I'll leave you with it. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. I don't care what kind of ist you are. If you're socialist, communist, atheist, doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. If you have a child that's yours, chances are you love it, right?
Right.
I know I love all mine, and I love the ones that aren't mine. We want to protect our children. It doesn't matter. All of that other stuff, those children don't know what your political affiliation is. They don't know what your beliefs are when they're little a lot of times. But what they do know is they're coming to you for clothing. They're coming to you for food. They're coming to you for shelter. They're coming to you for protection. And we don't need to fail them on any of those fronts. And right now, we have dropped the ball on protecting our kids. So now it's time to get after it. We got to get after it. So we're going to roll our sleeves up, and we're going to do what has to be done. And you can either get on board or get out of the way.
I like that.
Doesn't matter to me. But either way, we're getting on the train, and we're going to leave the station, and we're going to every town to protect every kid one way or the other. How yet? I don't know. But the good Lord, I'm a believer, has opened more doors without me knowing how to do it than I ever imagined. So,
well said, Kevin. Thank you again, brother. I appreciate you coming on the show. I hope that I can have you on again. And when this is in every goddamn school on the planet Earth. Yep. Thanks again, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tasty Brains Podcast. Go visit ktsecuritysolutions.com. I don't know how many times I can reiterate that to everybody. Give me a follow on IG, Tasty Brains Podcast, at Paulie Donuts, at Tasty Brains Podcast. You'll find me somewhere on there. And thanks again for listening, watching. Have a great day. Peace.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Appreciate it, brother.